Where do you start from?
Where do I start from? Manchester.
Yeah. And then you went to Singapore?
No, I went to Frankfurt, then we got off the plane and then reboarded Singapore to here. So.
Did you stop? Did you have a stopover in Singapore, or
No.
Are you traveling with somebody else?
No, I'm on my own.
This normal conversation is a risk assessment technique. The passenger's answers and demeanour will help the officer work out if he's telling the truth.
How much do you have in your bank account now?
My bank?
Money, yeah.
About £2,200, maybe a bit more, and I get paid tomorrow as well. I get paid another $570 tomorrow. So it's about 2,700 in total.
And you have a credit card?
I've got a credit card that's got about £100 on it, but I've got people at home. My mum and my dad are also.
They're gonna support you?
They can support me, yeah. And my girlfriend's got plenty of cash here as well. So.
Another tool used by customs is the ion scan. This test will determine if the passenger or his luggage has been in contact with narcotics. The container was supposed to carry glassware, but this is raw tobacco, nearly 2 tons of it, and none of it's been declared. So now officers will start investigations to determine the owner of the tobacco.
There's a lot of money involved in tobacco if they can evade duty, sales tax, etc., or GST in this case. The amount of money they're evading paying is enormous, and what do they do is they take it somewhere, put it in smaller packets, sell it to distribution points all around the country. I don't know.
It's not just revenue evasion that has customs worried. Raw tobacco leaves also pose a serious quarantine risk.
Unfortunately, we can't get all the leaf out, but that's part of the stem which makes it a prohibited import. There could be bugs and anything in this stuff.
Australia's tobacco industry employs thousands of people, so an uncontrollable outbreak of disease could seriously affect the livelihoods of countless Australian families. There are penalties for violating quarantine laws and organising and possessing the importation of tobacco, so whoever arranged this shipment might be in for some very bad news. Back in Sydney, the customs officer wants to know why this passenger's bags and phone have tested positive to traces of drugs.
You got high cocaine readings from your mobile phone and your toiletry bag?
High what?
Cocaine reading.
Right, well, so I haven't got
Have
any
you been in contact with?
I always have people around my parties and that, but I don't use it.
Have you used it?
I have before, not recently and not for a while. So.
When was the last time when you used it?
Maybe last week, but
Last week,
but it's not something I use.
Saturday, Sunday, Monday, which day?
Maybe at the weekends, but nothing that I use. Someone gave me it a bit, and I don't buy it. So.
You didn't buy it?
No, I don't buy it.
How often do you use it?
Every now and again, if someone just says to you, want a little bit, but it's not.
Once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week?
Maybe once a week if something's happening, but not very often.
Sometimes twice a week?
No, not really, no. Once a week, maybe. As I say, if someone's doing something, but...
Are you carrying anything at all?
No. I swear on my life.
Even one unit?
With cocaine readings on his bags and his phone, and an admission that he's used cocaine, Customs is now much more interested in this passenger. Nearly 2 tons of undeclared raw tobacco has been discovered in a container. And now Customs has some digging to do in order to find the importer. What officers discover is that the people responsible for importing the tobacco have used the name of a similar legitimate company. This type of deception has been seen by customs officers before. But are the tobacco bales hiding something else?
This one, Lee, actually has a marking.
I meant to tell you that there's a hole there, and it appears to be a void space in there. The only way we're going to find out from that is either rip it open, or I prefer to X-ray it first and figure out what's there. Look, it might be nothing. It might be just a hole put in there, but then again, we don't know.
Yeah, all right.
Until we put it through the X-ray.
Why would that leaf be sticking out like that, though?
Good question.
Could have been just picked up in shipment.
Yeah,
But why would you stick it on the outside unless you wanted to mark the bale in some way?
As a special.
So that somebody would know that there was something in there, especially if there's a hole in it.
Yeah. All right. X-ray and see what we come up
Yeah,
with.
all right.
What's this one? There's a couple of boxes of them.
One there.
Yeah, it looks like it's all the same.
It's a sweet, but I'm just checking to see whether there's actually an egg yolk inside. So you've got that round image there, but inside you've also got something which tells us there's some kind of filling in there. So what we might do is just cut it open. Okay,
this one
see there's an egg yolk in there, which is a high risk. It's got egg in it. It's a high risk for the sheer fact of the avian influenza. It can carry diseases, so that's got to go.
The quarantine officer has a right to be concerned, as avian influenza is more commonly known as the deadly bird flu.
Basically, the passenger doesn't speak English, so the officer's using the book, to make it a little bit easier. She's got high-risk items. She's also got a tin of shredded pork here. She's got the fresh produce over there. So all items are very high risk.
Admitting to drug use is not an offence in itself, but the customs officer still has a job to make sure that no drugs cross the border.
My toilet scissors are left in my bathroom, or if I take them somewhere in the bathroom, so they could be in contact, so I always put them out on the side, so they could be in contact with.
What about the mobile phone?
Again, that's left on the phone, on the side everywhere, the mobile. Anyway, I don't keep it in my pocket permanently, and a lot of other people use my mobile as well. So.
Do you live by yourself or you're living with somebody?
No, I live with friends, and I just temporarily moved to my friends as well. I've kept my flat, but someone's looking after my flat whilst I'm away. But I've moved into a flat where a lot of people go around all the time. So.
Okay. Are you 101% sure there's nothing in this bag?
101%.
101%?
Yeah, well, I can guarantee.
In your pocket?
I can guarantee, from the best of my knowledge, that there's nothing there. That's it from the pockets.
Nothing else in your pockets?
Because of the positive drug test on the passengers' bags, nothing can be overlooked.
Is your girlfriend a user as well?
It has been before, but not anymore. But one of the main reasons I'm here is because I want to stop drinking and I want to get out of England and get away from every person and bits and bits like that. So
there's no drugs found in the passenger's bag. Customs is concerned that they still could be concealed on his body, so the officer decides to have the passenger frisked. And with that, this passenger is free to enter the country. Customs are satisfied he's clean. Admitting to drug use is not an offence, but attempts to bring drugs across the border can result in heavy penalties, including fines of up to $750,000 and life in jail.
We can find the passenger, only that we know that she's been here before and that the passenger card's actually in her own language, which therefore states that she understood it clearly.
In Sydney, quarantine officers are faced with a choice. They must decide how to proceed with a woman who has tried to bring high-risk, undeclared items into the country.
File and see if there's anything there. Just let me know, we'll make a decision on it.
All passengers who are warned or fined by quarantine are recorded on a computer database.
No infringements, no warnings. So either it's her first time doing the wrong thing or first time being caught.
Back at the Sydney container facility, an X-ray shows that there's nothing concealed inside the tobacco bales.
It's actually quite consistent. There's nothing concealed in the middle of that.
Nah, it's all it's the same. Okay. Appears from that there's nothing in there. It's all very consistent. You know, you're looking for any inconsistency, something denser or less, or even less dense, because the tobacco is really, really packed tightly. In this case, we're looking at it there, and you can see quite clearly, apart from the pallet underneath, it's all very consistent. We're happy there's nothing there, apart from tobacco.
The customs officers on the waterfront have now done everything they can. Responsibility for catching the tobacco smuggler will now be passed on to the investigations unit. The illegal tobacco was allowed to leave the quarantine area, and the importer was unaware that customs investigators were following the truck to the delivery point.
Our mission is to conduct a managed delivery of the container, execute 198 and 203 warrants, to search additional premises that are identified resultant to the operation, to seize evidence relating to the importation of the container, and to identify, apprehend and prosecute offenders involved with the importation of the container.
The truck carrying the container has just left the facility. What we intend to do is just follow the container to where it's going to be delivered. When the suspects open the container, we'll be in a position to move in. All right, moving in.
Everybody mobile to the premises, the doors have been opened.
There you go, mate. You want to stop what you're doing? You're from customs.
Last year we brought you the story of Deborah, a woman from the United Kingdom who fell foul of Australia's immigration laws.
I'll give you his work number.
If the decision is made to cancel your visa, then you will be put on the first plane back to the UK.
This is ridiculous.
Since then, there's been a major development. But first, a recap. Deborah came to Australia a couple of years ago. She fell in love with Matthew and they planned a life together. But Deborah overstayed her holiday visa. So now she's re-entered the country with another tourist visa, which is a big mistake.
She's coming back to Australia on a tourist visa, but she's overstayed previously, so she may not be entitled to have that visa.
Okay, what's the purpose of this trip into Australia?
What's the purpose of this trip? My life is here. I have a boyfriend here.
Deborah had arranged her visa through an immigration lawyer, but she may not have got the best advice.
The situation is she has an Australian citizen boyfriend who I've just rung up. She's been living with him since last year. The ETA that she applied for on shore was done through a migration agent.
This immigration agent told me, and I asked him specifically the question, you know, are you 100% certain she'll be, you know, able to get back into Australia? And he says to me, I am 100% certain if she isn't, she'll be the first person ever not to be allowed in.
This migration agent, he should have explained it to you that there was a 3-year automatic exclusion period, okay?
No one has told me this. I wouldn't be having, I don't want to go for this. I have a relationship here. I don't even know whether to continue or to finish. It's just everything is up in the air and I just want to get it sorted out once and for all. I would like to stay here.
If Deborah's visa is cancelled, it could mean a 3-year ban from entering Australia and goodbye to Matthew.
I asked whether I could go out there and see her and, you know, the answer is quite simply no because it's behind the line, which was really tough, which was really hard.
Okay, 220.
In Sydney, officers have reached a decision. There's enough evidence to suggest that the woman has knowingly tried to deceive quarantine. And with the high-risk food items in her possession, the result is a $220 fine.
Okay, just read this one for me.
Can have you got a radio?
Do you understand this one? I take, but you still. Yep, listen, you still. Yes. Yes. Yeah, I'll take, but you still. You read that. You need to pay this. Yeah.
The passenger might not be happy, but the fine still stands. And it needs to be paid immediately. It's not a very good way to start a holiday, but Australia's quarantine laws are strict for very good reasons. Sydney Airport, immigration is still considering Deborah's case after she was given the wrong advice about re-entering the country with a tourist visa.
I'll come back in. I'll give you a few moments to compose yourself and think about what you want to say.
Deborah has one chance only of getting back into Australia.
If she comes up with something new, different, a good reason, the cancellation may not actually go through.
Right, Deborah, do you have anything you wish to say in response to the grounds for cancellation?
I have a partner here, I have a bank account here. I'm here with the intention of actually staying and working lawfully here.
Cancellation means a flight back to the UK and a 3-year ban from Australia.
I didn't realise it was a 3-year exclusion. So I've been a bit ignorant, I've been silly, I'll put my hand up to that. But I haven't done anything intentionally. If I knew this was the situation, I would have bought my own ticket, packed my own bags and say goodbye to the people that I wanted to say goodbye to, not live like this. This is a disgrace for me.
Yeah, mate, you want to stop what you're doing? You're from customs?
Hey?
In Sydney, the shipment of illegal tobacco leaves has reached its destination, and a customs investigator moves in to question a man unpacking the container.
While I'm questioning you, you may have a legal practitioner present. What I'd like to do is just ask you a number of questions about what you're doing here.
I'm not even, I swear to God, I'm not even, I'll just figure it out.
Okay, mate. Well, who gave you instructions to be here today?
I got a phone call last night.
Who from?
By the, way.
Right, is he married?
Yeah.
What's his wife's name?
I don't know his wife's name, mate.
So he's a good mate. You don't know where he lives. You don't know his wife's name.
Long time
All right.
companion.
Who's responsible for importing this, do you know?
wouldn't have a clue. I would not have a clue. I didn't know what was in this. I'm just unloading. I saw there were boxes, that's it.
What else can you tell me about this container?
Nothing at all, mate. I swear to you, nothing at all. I'm here to unload, get paid for it, and that's it.
All right. Well, mate, we're going to have to check out your story.
Sure you can. You can. In fact, I'm totally innocent, I swear to God.
What I'm going to do, I'm just going to conduct a quick frisk search on you, all right?
You go in there and do it?
Yeah, I prefer that.
I prefer that too.
I've been out of England for 2 years. I don't even know where to start if I go back there. This was never my intention. I'm not a drug smuggler. I've never broken any laws here.
You have broken the Migration Act.
I mean, I have broken an immigration law, yes.
Alan and his manager will now decide whether Deborah can re-enter the country.
I think the cancellation has to proceed.
Okay.
You comfortable with that?
I'm comfortable, yes.
Okay, cool.
We'll
Yeah.
proceed to cancellation then?
Yep.
Now Alan has to break the news.
Deborah, the decision has been made to cancel your visa. The visa was initially granted to you invalidly because you were within Australia at the time of the grant. And you are subject to a 3-year exclusion period. Okay? Now, that can be waived in an overseas post, but it cannot be waived here at the border.
You're going to have to call me back in about 10 minutes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Deborah was flown back to the UK that evening.
You can't say goodbye to someone properly over the phone. You know, you just can't.
Well, it wasn't goodbye for long, and a little over a year later, it's a different story entirely. When Deborah arrived back in the UK, she applied for a waiver of the 3-year exclusion period on the basis of her relationship with Matthew, and she was successful. Just a couple of months ago, back in Australia, Deborah and Matthew were married. With the tobacco raid over, the packer has been cleared and another man, believed to be the importer, has been taken into custody. This is a complex fraud involving the creation of false identities and false companies. The importer was convicted on all 3 charges: importing a prohibited import, possessing a prohibited import, and making a false statement. He was fined a total of $30,000 and was also ordered to pay costs of $5,000, including the cost of destroying the tobacco.